I'm going to show you the exact funnels that I use inside of my agency and my online coaching business to generate more than $600,000 per month. Then I'm going to show you how to copy and paste all of my funnels into your business with just the click of a button. Now, the software that I'm using today to build my funnels is called GoHighLevel. And if you haven't heard of GHL, then you've probably been living under a rock for the past 3 years. GoHighLevel has basically put all their competitors out of business. Nobody is using traditional CRMs anymore or funnel building tools like ClickFunnels. And that's because GHL does everything that all these other softwares do, but they do it better and cheaper. This video is part of a masterclass on how to use GHL. So when you're done with this video, go watch the others. All right, now I'm going to share my screen and show you my funnels inside of GHL. All right, here we are inside of GHL. Now today I'm going to be teaching you how to operate everything in this Sites tab on the left-hand side. Under this Sites tab, we see funnels, we see websites, we see stores. We'll also spend some time on blogs, on the WordPress option, the client portal, forms, surveys, chat widget, URL redirects. Now there's a lot of stuff to dig into here, so I'm going to try and stay focused on where I think you are going to get the highest ROI for your time watching this masterclass. And for me, that's going to be in the funnels and forms section. If you can master everything going on here, you're going to be 95% of the way to being a GHL expert, and you're going to know how to leverage the most important tools in this section. But if you're interested in doing a deep dive on some of these other sections like automations and marketing and the contacts, please be sure to watch the rest of the masterclass. All right, so funnels versus websites. Which do you use when? I like to think of the funnels versus websites conversation as a website as kind of your home page. This is where you send people that you don't really have an objective for. You meet someone on the street, what do? I run a PR agency, go to otterpr.com. You don't really have an intention for that person. You're not trying to get them to book a call. You want to let them have their own journey. So they hit their website, they do a little bit more research about you, learn what the company's about, and then maybe they take action on the site. Versus a funnel. A funnel's going to be anywhere you send traffic that you pay for. This is how I kind of determine when to use funnels and when to use websites. For example, I'm running an ad to you to try to get you to book a call with my sales team. That's going to be a funnel. There's not going to be a menu bar. There's not going to be a lot of options. The only course of action that I want you to take in that case is to get you to give me your information and to book a call. Everything else is a distraction, so that's going to be a funnel. Let me start by showing you a few of the most common funnels that you're going to be using and seeing. So here you'll see my paid ad funnels. I actually have a different funnel for each different ad platform that I'm running on, and I'll show you why in just a second. So when I open up this funnel, I see a couple different options. Now I'm going to dive deeper into each of these tabs and show you what they all mean and how to use them. I just want to start with overall funnel structure. They all look pretty much like this. There's going to be a headline, a logo, and then a way for them to give me their information. Once they hit submit information, it's going to take them to part 2 of this funnel, which is going to be booking a call. This is a very simple call booking funnel. Now you could just send somebody to the calendar, but calendars don't have the highest conversion rate. I like to send them to a form first to collect their info, and then if they don't book on the next page, I can send them emails and text follow-ups to actually get them to schedule a meeting. Now, what makes a funnel is these steps. It goes in a stepwise sequence, and I can add other steps in here as well. So step 1 is the opt-in form. They give me their information. Once they're done, they go to step 2, which is going to be a scheduling page. Now, if I wanted, after they schedule, I could go to step 3, which could be a payment page or an information page. Now, that's a pretty standard call booking funnel. The other funnel that I'd like to show you is a purchase funnel. This is another very common funnel that you can use and copy into your business. This is a low ticket funnel. This is a sales funnel where I'm actually trying to get them to buy something. These are also sometimes known as self-liquidating funnels, self-sustaining funnels, and the point with these is I run ads to these funnels. Now, the ads typically cost me $20 to $40 to get a sale for a $27 sale. If I can make, on average, $20 to $40 per person that purchases, then I can essentially run ads for free and generate leads for free. That's the point of a self-sustaining funnel. So step 1 is kind of like step 1 in the past funnel that I showed you, which is the opt-in form. Once they opt in, they go to the sales page. And as you can see, I'm running a split test on every important step here. And I'll talk a little bit more about split tests in just a second. This step is the sales step. So we're actually trying to get them to check out and purchase something. In this case, a $27 featured article. Now, one thing you'll notice about these low ticket funnels is they typically have an order bump, which looks like this. And they'll typically have a one-time offer or a one-click upsell, which in this case is this award. Now, it might cost me $40 to acquire a customer using this ad funnel. And if they only buy the $27 article, I lose money. But if they buy the $27 article, take the order bump, and take the upsell, now I'm making a lot of money on these leads, not to mention the value of having those leads in our system. The next step of this funnel is an intake. They get a video to watch, they fill out some information, and once they're done with that, they go to this page where they're encouraged to schedule a discovery call. And throughout this process, we're emailing them trying to get them to book a call. And once we learn some information about them, our team is trying to get them to book a call. So this is a low ticket sales funnel. Let's show you one more style of funnel that you're going to be using. This is a lead magnet funnel. This is kind of like a call booking funnel, but it's much more effective. In this type of funnel, you're actually collecting their contact information in exchange for some piece of value. So this is a funnel that we built where we will give somebody a free piece of media coverage in USA Wire. Now, we'll write and publish your article in USA Wire, just give us your information. Now they're actually opting in for something, in exchange for something. Once they do, they're taken to this intake form where we're actually able to deliver on that promise. So we collect some more information from them here, and then once they're done, boom, they get taken to this schedule a call page. So it's kind of like the call funnel with the opt-in, but in this case, we're delivering the lead magnet and then trying to get them to book a call. Now, if you're an experienced marketer and if you're clever, then you're probably asking, Jay, what happens after they book a call? Where's step 4? So because we use Calendly, as you can see, this is Calendly, this is not the GHL calendar, we're unable to put that thank you step in step 4. We actually redirect all of the Calendly booked meetings to this same page, otterpr.com/call thank you. And this page has a lot of different pixels and triggers on it so that all of our pixels know that that person converted. They booked a call. Now that's a little bit advanced. Just know that if you're using Calendly, which you can, you don't have to use GHL's calendar, which is right here, which does work great. There's going to be another masterclass video on calendars if you're interested in it, but Calendly does have a very high conversion rate. That's why there's no step 4. Now, one of the really cool things about GHL, and I promised that I was going to show you how to copy all of my funnels and automations into your GHL account. And the way to copy these funnels and automations is I can just come here and say share and give you this share link. So all you have to do is paste this in your GHL account, and now you have that funnel inside of your GHL account. Now, this is a feature that's available to members of my Insiders program. So if you're interested in copying any of the funnels that you see, please join the Insiders program so you can get access to that. Whether you're an agency or an online coaching consulting business, or any of these funnels look like you should have them, you should absolutely join that program. It'll make your CRM build out and your marketing much, much easier. Now, you might also be asking yourself, if you're a good marketer, Jay, why do you have all these different paid ad funnels if they're all basically the same funnel? I will tell you why. Each of these funnels are almost identical. The only difference is this. On the scheduling page, this is where we embed our Calendly. I like to know where our leads come from. So I'm sending traffic from Facebook and Google and TikTok and LinkedIn and Clutch to these different pages that look essentially the same. But when they hit our scheduling page, I like to know where that traffic came from. And I don't like to rely on those sources from telling me. So when they come to this calendar to actually book a call, you'll notice inside of the code, UTM term equals Clutch. This is a tracking code so that I know if they booked a call on this specific page, it's attributed to Clutch. And just a pearl of information, tracking is really hard, and once you're scaling, good data is incredibly important. So if you're not using UTM tracking and Hyros, you're gonna have a really hard time making data-driven decisions. All right, now to show you how to build a funnel, I'm now inside of the Lead Gen J CRM. And this is where I have my coaching and consulting business. So I'm gonna go ahead and start building a funnel from scratch, so you can see how this works. So I'm in funnels. I like to keep mine nicely organized. So I've got my lead magnets, my high ticket, my course. I'm gonna go ahead and create a new funnel here. And I can either do this blank or I can do it from templates. They do have a lot of awesome templates. These are only accessible with their premium plan, which is $500 a month as an agency. If you have a sub-account with me for only $49, you get access to all of these templates, as well as the ability to copy my funnels and my automations. So I'm gonna go ahead and name this funnel test. Now I can either add a new step or import. Now, one really cool thing that GHL does is you can actually clone a ClickFunnels funnel directly into GHL. And when I was transitioning my ClickFunnels into GHL, it made this really easy. But the best part is you can actually steal other people's funnels from ClickFunnels and put them into your GHL just by knowing their link. So then you're going to name your page. This is just for you so you know what it's about. And then your path is going to be a slash, and let's call it opt-in test. This is the URL that you're going to give people to visit this funnel. And now you can either create from blank or use existing. Now I have a lot of funnels already built, so I can literally just come in here and choose which funnel and which step that I want to clone into this page. But for the purposes of learning and helping you build your own funnels, I'm going to go ahead and create from blank. So it's going to give me a blank funnel, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to build in here. So section, we can go full width, wide, medium. I actually like to go wide. I'm going to go ahead and add a row. You need to have a section, a row, and then you can add elements. So let's go ahead and add my logo. So I'm going to do an image. And then as you can see on the right-hand side, you can control what this looks like in desktop versus mobile, and you can toggle between the two. I like to have this a lot smaller. I can make this logo go to a URL. I can create animations now, and they keep updating the software so much. Animations was not a thing when I started using GHL. Now I'm going to go ahead and add a headline to this funnel. So I can either add another section, another row, or I can just go ahead and stack them all in the same column. But it is really important to know what these layers are and to have a good understanding of them. Section, row, elements. So let's go ahead and add another section. I'm going to click this plus button on the left-hand side. I can add section, rows, elements. I can use global sections or section templates, which are sections that you can save and then reuse. You can even use their pre-built sections, pre-built buttons, social media icons, timers. They make it so easy to import different elements and build things incredibly fast. Literally with this, there's no reason to not have a world-class website and funnel in seconds. But I'm going to go ahead and add another section. I'm going to go ahead and add a headline, download my lead magnet, and then I'm going to go ahead and add a form. This is typically how most opt-in or lead magnet funnels start. And the best part is these forms are in your GHL account. So when somebody opts into this form, it goes to the next step. That contact goes into your GHL contacts. No more Zapier connecting your funnel building site to your CRM. All of it is under one roof. And they do just as good a job with each individual feature, like funnels and forms and calendars, as funnel building sites would do with funnels and form building sites would do with forms. It's all incredibly advanced. They do a really amazing job. So we're going to go choose the form to build. I'm going to click on this form now that I've chosen it, and button actions. We're going to go to the next step. This is a big mistake that people often make, is they don't select go to the next step. People will fill out the form, and then it's going to simply do the form action. Just typically show them a few words. All right, then always check your funnel in mobile just to make sure it looks good. This one does not, but I'm going to go ahead and save it anyway. Before I do, there's a couple things here that you should see. There's layers. This is where you can come in and actually see all your sections. If you're having a hard time grabbing onto a certain section or row because of spacing, this is a really great way to do it. Pages, tracking code. So if you need to add chatbots or any tracking codes here, you can do this in the funnel itself, in the step itself, or you can do it in the actual funnel and the overall settings, which I'll show you in just a second. Custom CSS if you're a developer and want to add code. If you want to choose different headline fonts, content fonts, and text colors, as you can see, this is the Montserrat font. If I wanted to change that going forward, I can do that here. So they have this built-in pop-up section. Obviously, you can use pop-up apps. I just like to use theirs. It works really well. And you can determine, once I click pop-up settings, what actually happens to this pop-up. I can disable it. I can close when clicking outside. I can show when to show it. I can say if it's full page or not. And then I can start building within this pop-up just like I would a page. The SEO metadata. When I save and publish this, this is going to pop up because it wants me to title this page, give it content, and actually plug in an image that will come up if somebody shares that link. All right, I'm going to go ahead and save this funnel and hit publish. It's going to make me do this SEO metadata and connect a domain. So I'm going to connect leadgenj.com and save. Now I've got my first funnel step. Nice and simple. If I wanted to add products to that step, like it was a sales page, then let's come into one of my sales funnels. I'm going to come into products, and this is where I'll actually add the product that we're selling. And as you can see, I've got a core product and I've got a bump product. That bump is that one-click yellow box that you click and it adds that product. So same thing here. If I wanted to add a product to this, it would have to have an order form on the page itself in order to work. But I can come in here and add the different products that I've built with the different pricings. And this is a conversation for another day. And then down here, you can click bump product or main product and then control some of the other options. This is how you get products into your order form. Now I want to show you how to create split tests and variations. GoHighLevel does a really good job of making split tests easy. Now let's build an actual split test using real data. So this is one that I was running before. I'm going to go ahead and take a screenshot of this so I have the results. I'm going to go ahead and save that and declare this one the winner because it's been going on for a while. This one's up by 2 points. So even if it's not a conclusive test, I'm going to declare this a winner and come up with a new test. So create variation. I'm going to duplicate control. This is the option that you're going to use 90% of the time because in split tests, you're really only changing one small variable at a time. In this case, it's probably going to be the headline or some of the bullet points. All right, the split test has been duplicated. Let's go ahead and edit this variation. All right, so a few simple changes, got rid of the header, change some of the formatting. Let's try this split test. So I'm going to save, publish, and now we're actually going to deploy this test. But before I do, I like to hit the settings icon here and just make sure it has a nice clean path. So 8 million leads. So when somebody visits it, it doesn't have a weird string of words or letters. Now that that's done, let's start the split test. We're going to do 50-50 traffic and apply. And now it's going to start gathering data so that when you come back, you can declare your results and start a new split test. The A/B testing is the most powerful thing about funnels. And it's the reason funnels work so much better than websites for traffic that you want to do a specific thing. You can actually have these 5, 10, 15, even 20% increments, changes in the effectiveness of a funnel. And you can do that just by adjusting the headline or the form, or a single word can make the biggest difference. So you should always be split testing your funnels. GHL makes it really, really easy, but this is another feature of one of the top plans. So if you want to activate A/B testing, you can have a sub account with me, or you can pay, I believe, $300 a month to GHL. Now what's important here is you're probably going to have a bunch of lead magnets, you're going to have a bunch of forms for different ad traffic, and remember, the forms get embedded into the funnels. So for that reason, I'm going to show you how to create these forms and how to think about your forms for your funnels. So having a good form becomes really, really important in GHL. Luckily, forms and surveys are built right into the process. The big difference here between forms and surveys is surveys have multiple steps. There'll be a next button instead of a submit button, whereas a form is just one long string of questions. I like to use forms because they're simpler, especially for opt-in pages. I like to use surveys when I'm trying to intake somebody. So it's not like a big, scary, long form with long answers. They do it step by step. So forms used for opt-ins, surveys I use for intakes. So now we're in the form builder, and don't get scared. A lot of these are just clones of opt-in forms. An opt-in form is going to be typically your name, email, phone number, and then sometimes one question. I actually like to ask a qualifying question in my opt-in forms, such as what stage are you at in your business? And it's 3 choices, and based on what they choose, I can then segment their automations. And if you want to learn more about that, please watch my video on GHL automations. So let's come into opt-in forms. Each of these forms is a clone of each other. They all have the exact same questions. They look exactly the same. The only difference is they trigger different automations. A form submission is the trigger for most of my automations. So if they're different lead magnets, then the delivery of that lead magnet is a different automation, which means it has to have a different form. And they all essentially look like this: name, email, phone number, qualifying question, submit now. Now on the left-hand side, you'll have the ability to add new questions to this form. Most of the common fields are going to be available to you right here: their address, their name, their number, and then some design elements as well. So customized other elements, they can upload things and they can sign things. This is really important, especially when you're intaking somebody or getting someone to agree to something. You can actually get them to draw their signature and then use that signature to generate agreements. Now, if you need to create a custom field such as this, where there's 3 different options, you can either do it here and drag in this radio option and then create those different elements, or you can come into custom fields and then create that custom element this way. They're pretty self-explanatory, and there's not a lot of things here that you're not going to see in other form building apps. What is great about this is these form fields automatically get saved into their contact information. So you're connecting a form app with a CRM. Anytime they answer any question inside of a form or a survey or an order form, it automatically goes into their contact information in the CRM. That's unbelievably powerful. And then you can do different things with that in the automations. Now, a couple of things here to note. In addition to the form elements, there's conditional logic that you can add to these forms to show certain fields, disqualify leads based on certain answers, and this is something that we use a lot in our ad forms. So this is an opt-in form that we use for most of our paid ads. Pretty simple: name, phone number, email address, business website URL. We don't work with clients that don't have a website for our PR firm. So for that reason, we want to stop bad traffic from coming in. So we use conditional logic to do that. So how do we set that up? Disqualified lead if website contains TikTok, NA, if it contains website, and there's several other rules here. So if they don't have an actual website, it's going to show them this information here. I don't think it's a good fit at this time. Sorry. This prevents bad leads from coming into our funnel, and it trains our pixel that that person didn't convert, so it doesn't show the ad to more unqualified leads. You can also use these conditions to make forms simpler. For example, if someone has a US address and lives in the US, maybe you don't want to ask them a bunch of international questions. You can hide fields based on answers to earlier fields. Notification settings I don't really touch, because when someone submits a form for me, it triggers an automation every single time. There's no point in creating a form if there's not an automation attached to it. So for that reason, I do not use these notifications. I do the notifications inside of the automation. Now let's take a look at one of the more complex parts about these forms and where a lot of people get hung up. Styles and options, they change this all the time. So this is the most up to date as of September 22nd. There's a lot of different layouts that you can choose for this form, depending on how many options there are and what those fields are. This is how I like to keep it. Single column, box, the width 500. You can just go ahead and copy these settings for yourself. Colors and background, if you want to add a background image or a header image. And then in advanced settings, there's a lot more important information for the style of this form, and it makes it a little bit difficult to get there. So you're going to come, again, to styles and options and then advanced settings. And now you can edit the border width, the quarter radius. That's how we get the nice rounded edges. You can do the border color, border style. And then coming down the line here, you can change the input fields. These are the grayed out fields here, what those look like, the labels, the placeholders, everything. Quick side note, if you do want to change the style of the button, we're going to get out of this view completely. We're going to click button, and now we can actually style the button separately. All right, back into styles and options. Now in themes, you can actually choose a pre-designed template for your form. I like to design my own. They get embedded into website pages, so I don't like to use these. If you're not going to embed this into a website page and just give them a form link, which you can do, then I might recommend using one of these themes. In options, you're able to control what happens when you submit the form. So on submit, open a specific link. Again, this on submit honestly never gets used because I'm using these inside of funnels, and when they submit the form inside of the funnel, it goes to the next step. Now again, you can send someone a standalone link to this form. So if I say integrate and I copy form link and I give that to somebody and you open up that form link, you'll just get the form. And then if I submit this form, it's going to redirect me to that page from on submit. But if I embed it into a landing page and I say go to next step when submitted, this doesn't matter because the funnel setting overrides the form setting. You can input Facebook pixels in the form itself. I don't use this because I use the Facebook pixel on the funnel, not on the form. But if you want to just use the forms as landing pages, you can, and then you can put your pixel ID and pixel events here. Very important setting here is the form settings. So sticky contact. Do you want GHL to track the visitor and get their information for these forms every time they submit them? Usually the answer is yes, but sometimes the answer is no. If this form is going to be filled out by a client or a lead, I like to leave sticky contact on. If this form is going to be filled out by you or someone on your team, maybe to trigger an automation, turn sticky contact off, because on is just going to screw things up. I don't really worry about this GDPR compliant font. Maybe I'll get sued one day and I'll start worrying, but you can turn that on. It might help. Enable time zone is also very good because when your lead submits the form, it will know what time it is where they are, and you'll get that information inside of your CRM. All right, now to use this form, you can either embed it on the funnels or websites pages, like the way I just showed you, or you can do it this way. You can embed it with code, you can copy the form link, and you can set different settings for this form, when to deactivate it, when to act it, showing on certain pages. It's kind of just like a pop-up that people will have on different pages, and then you can actually control the different display options using these settings here. Now, when all is said and done, let's go ahead and save our form and move on to the next step. But before I do, let me show you a couple of different types of forms that I use in my business so that you can kind of see how I think about forms and collecting and using information. So, billing forms. These are all my forms related to billing. Usually these are going to be operational forms. If somebody's payment fails and someone on my team needs to take action, they'll fill out a form to trigger an automation, and that will initiate some kind of sequence or collection strategy. Calendar forms. So calendars in GHL actually get attached to forms to collect information. So if you have a specific calendar for sales calls, you might have a calendar sales call form, and that's going to have the information that you need for that call. Course forms, this is going to be like my intake form for the course, requesting different things within the course, but the main one here is going to be intake. You should have a form or a survey to intake your clients. If it's long, use a survey. If it's short, use a form. Feedback forms. You should always be asking for feedback from your customers and from your staff. Machine build, this is just a specific offer we have intake forms for. Opt-ins, so we have a lot of different cloned opt-in forms for those purposes that I mentioned earlier. We also have an affiliate registration form and an email preferences form. This is a powerful one because instead of just letting somebody opt out of all emails, we actually let them choose their preferences. Obviously, they can opt out completely, or they can hear from us less or keep hearing from me often. This way, instead of just giving them a one-click opt-out, we actually let them say, email me less, or stop emailing me using this form. Now, one really cool thing that I want to show you, this is pro tip for the forms. Let's go ahead and copy this form link, and I'm going to open up this form link in an incognito browser. You can actually pre-fill these forms using really simple code in the URL. So if I want to add their email address automatically to this form, and I use this all the time, it saves my clients and leads a lot of time when they're clicking on a form link or a funnel from an automation. It just has it pre-filled. So I'm going to type email equals, say j@otterpr.com. And now when I go to this link, it's going to have my email address here. And I can do the same with phone and name. So when you're adding a string of these, so say it had phone as well, it starts with the question mark, and then after that, I'm going to add a ampersands, which is like the and sign, phone equals, and then phone number, which will import that phone number from the automation. I'll show you how to do that in the automations video. So, fun little hack to save your prospect a lot of time and make you look really professional. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on surveys because honestly, they're the same thing as forms. They just have different steps. So let's come into one of my surveys so I can show you the difference. This is my cold email AI writer. You have to answer a bunch of questions so that my AI will know how to write your cold emails. It's a lot of steps here. So instead of having submit, there's next. And each of these is different pages. So if you want to add a page, you can just add a slide here and add new questions to that slide. That way, when somebody gets done filling out a bunch of answers and they hit next, they go to the next slide and then the next slide. And on the very last one, they'll have that submit button. Other than that, these things are exactly like forms. The only reason you should use a survey is if you have a big, long form with a lot of questions. But there's one other thing that could be useful to some people. Now, surveys don't have the same conditionals that we have in forms, but surveys are actually quite useful if you want to disqualify somebody after they submit something or after you've gathered some information. So in styles and options, we're going to come into options. And down here, you'll say disqualify immediately or disqualify after submit. And you can also give them options like one question at a time. This is going to be like type form style. You can scroll to the top on submit, play with some of these features. It does make surveys a little bit unique to forms, but again, I only use surveys for really long intakes or questionnaires. The other cool thing about surveys is routing. So based on what they answer in a certain slide, say this is slide 1, and they select the best choice. Down here under logic, if they select I don't have a business yet, I can send them to a different step than I would if they selected I have a business and need more leads. So this is one way that you can use surveys, especially in intake forms, to gather the best correct information from somebody based on answers to previous questions. All right, so now we're in websites. You should have a website in here. The website is where I keep pages that don't require testing and where I don't send cold traffic. such as my terms of service, my cookie policy, my privacy policy, my blog page. So websites are quite useful. They just create static pages that don't have steps to them and just makes more sense for an organization standpoint. But it works essentially the exact same way as funnels do. The builder is the same. You can clone pages inside of the websites. It is essentially the same thing. But while we're in here, I'm going to show you something that I haven't shown you yet, and that's going to be these bars up top. So let's come into settings, and funnels is going to work the same way. So within settings, you can assign a domain. You can assign a favicon URL. The favicon is this cool little icon at the top of my browser. Mine says lead gen. Ideally, these are best as a circle. And then tracking codes. So you can add tracking codes either on the website level or the page level. I showed you how to do it on the page level. This is how you do it on the website level. And this is actually how I prefer to do it. This way you don't have to put code into each page. Here you can also designate if you want their chat widget on. So I don't use the GHL chat. I use my own chat. It's called Chatling. And there's a reason for that. And I'll share that reason for using my own chatbot in just a second. But I like to leave this off. If you do want to use the GHL chat widget, it is quite good. And you can go ahead and activate that here so you don't have to add code. The rest is self-explanatory. I like to leave these on. You can create tracking events here instead of doing it inside of your pixel. And then you can see your stats and your sales. Obviously, this is a website, not a funnel, so there's not a lot of sales coming through this website. Now let's talk for a second about chatbots. This is not a video on how to build and deploy chatbots. I'm just going to be giving you the quick and dirty about GHL AI chatbot versus my own chatbot. So I'm going to enter this chat widget on this site and show you how this works. This is the GHL chatbot, and it's pretty good. It's pretty effective. GHL also has an AI that you can link to this that is pretty effective. You can train it. There's human takeover. Here's what this window looks like now. They can enter their info and start the chat, or they can just send you an email, get in touch here. And then you can trigger automations based on the activity in this chatbot. So you can run through these and design it the way that you want. I actually have used this in the past. That's why it already looks pre-designed. I just don't use this one anymore. And then deploying it's actually really easy. You just turn it on in the websites or funnels settings. And I don't want to spend too much time here, but here is the conversation AI. This is GHL's AI chatbot function. And you can activate it in the live chat here, and there's different modes for it. Autopilot is actually letting the AI just take over and have conversations. Suggestive helps you or your staff come up with responses in real time, and then off turns conversational AI off. And you can actually activate it for SMS, you can activate it for Instagram, which makes it a really powerful tool if you want to use it to like close deals or reply to SMS messages. It's actually quite nice. And it's quite cheap, so it's 2 cents per response. Not bad at all. You can also upgrade to unlimited for $49 per month. You can test it here, you can train it here. Obviously it's got a whole bunch of Q&As that I've already trained it on. And then you configure intents, which is the overall settings. How do you want this bot to perform and operate? Is its goal to book a call, to make a sale, to answer all of the questions? That's for you to decide here in intents. Now here is the problem with most AI chatbots, and that problem is context. So these are 2 funnels on my website. I've got my insider sales page, and I've got a chatbot right here. And this is my mailbox setup service. I've got a chatbot right here. If this was the same chatbot, which is essentially what you're doing every time you activate the GHL chatbot or your own AI chatbot, these don't have context. They might have all of the answers to all of the FAQs. They might know everything about all of your services. But most people don't come in here and say, I am on the mailbox setup page and I have a question about your mailbox service. Is it this price and what does it do? No, most people are going to come into this chatbot and they are going to say how much it cost, how it worked. They give it no context, which means your chatbot has no context. It can either spend its time asking the person questions, getting them to answer all of the questions to get context, or you can deploy a different chatbot on each different page and train each individual chatbot on only the information for the offer and the page that it's on. When I made this simple change, it made my AI chatbots almost 100% effective. And anytime it doesn't know the answer, I just go in and fix it. Now again, this isn't a video on AI chatbots, but this is the chatbot tool that I use. It's called Chatling. In Chatling, I can copy and paste chatbots and train each different one on different information and then embed them onto the page. And by training different bots for different pages, now there's context and it rarely messes up. If you want a link to join Chatling, it's in my recommended tool sheet that's going to be available for you down below. All right, enough about chatbots. Let's go over some of the final points here in the GHL Sites tab, we've got stores. So GHL recently deployed this new feature. They're trying to make it e-commerce friendly. Within stores, you can build out different products with different SKUs and variations inside of your own e-commerce store and GHL. And they framed it after Shopify. So it looks just like Shopify. Let's go ahead and build a store from templates. You can launch this store here. It's going to have template products, and it's going to be essentially just like a Shopify store. It is a really cool feature that they just added, and it makes GHL a lot more usable for a lot more companies. So if you do sell stuff e-commerce style, then you can now do that inside of GHL. And everything else is exactly the same. When they purchase it, you can create an automation off of it. You can upload a bunch of different products and images. So this is basically Shopify built into GHL. It is super powerful and really cool, but most people aren't going to need or use this, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. As you can see from that template, we now have the products list, product details, cart, checkout, thank you page, just like a Shopify store would. Blogs. GHL now has the option for you to create a blog on your GHL website. I actually did that. I have a blog here. So if you want just to have a blog, you can make it look better than this. I did not spend too much time specifically on this blog. I'm going to show you what I did instead. But it is good to know that if you want to have a blog and you want to start getting that SEO juice, you can start one here right on GHL. Now you should know that if your goal is to have a big profitable blog and get organic traffic, you don't want your blog built on GHL, you want it built on WordPress. And they know that. They know that WordPress is your best chance of getting that blog or website to rank. That is why they have WordPress built right into GHL. This is a small additional fee every month, but it's worth it. So you can activate WordPress and manage it through GHL. You cannot have the same domain that you have in your funnels and sites as you do in WordPress. I actually created a subdomain for it. So if you want to see my blog, it's secrets.leadgenj.com. I'm actually in the process of building it, but this is built on WordPress, and I do a lot of that through GHL. That way these blogs have the best chance of ranking, and that's because of plugins like Yoast, and Google just likes WordPress better. This is really ugly. It'll look really good in a couple weeks. Most of you don't need to activate this. You don't need WordPress. You don't need a blog. This is something to think about way down the road, and honestly, with the way AI is going, I don't even know if this project is going to be worth my time or money, but we'll see. Client portals. If you have any sort of membership program course built within GHL, you can actually give your clients access to a portal that has all their information. And it's actually really helpful because I do have affiliates that they use my portal for. So my clients and affiliates can actually log in and they can access their courses, they can access their affiliate dashboard, all through that client portal. So once you come in here, you'll set up your domain. Again, mine is vip.leadgenj.com. You can go ahead and modify that here, or it'll give you this templated subdomain that you can share if you don't want to add your own custom domain. You can add your branding with your images and your color scheme. I should probably update mine. And here you can enable apps within your portal. So for example, courses, communities, affiliates, and billing and subscription. I can activate or deactivate some of these depending on what I want my people to be able to do. I actually want affiliates to be able to access that, and my default landing page is going to be affiliates since that's what I'm primarily using it for. Now, if you're building a course and community in GHL, they've actually done a really good job building out that feature. I'm in school.com, Hermosi's company, for several reasons. Honestly, if GHL was as good as it is now when I started my course, I may build it here. And if you do want to build out that membership portal, the courses and communities, you can do so in memberships here. And I'm going to have a whole separate video on how to build out your course and community within GHL. Finally, this is another tool that I use a lot, so I feel like it's worth mentioning, and that is URL redirects. So this is a really professional and clean way to create URLs for different things. For example, if I'm doing a partnership with a company, let's use Nacho for example, and I want to do an ad or an ad read in a video, I can now say, if you want to sign up for Nacho, go to leadgenj.com/nacho. And just by going to that simple URL, it's now going to send them to my long, ugly affiliate link. You see podcasters do this all the time. Another cool thing you can do is create really cool links like leadgenj.com/live goes directly to my Zoom link. So when I do my live trainings and you type in leadgenj.com/live, now you're automatically redirected to the correct Zoom page. There's a lot of examples of how you can use these, but they make really cool, clean links. For example, leadgenj.com/Tyler. This will take you to the sales calendar of one of my sales people. And I have a short link like this for my entire sales team. So it's really easy for them to just say, yeah, head to leadgenj.com/Tyler, and it takes them right to their calendar. This is different from trigger links, which we talked about in the last video. URL redirects are just a nice clean way for you to direct people where you want with really nice, easy to say, easy to remember short links. And finally, to wrap it up, in order to use any of this, you're going to need to add some domains to GHL. Now, doing that is really easy. You can access it through this gear icon on the right-hand side, or you can come into settings and down to domains. And from here, you can add lots of different domains and subdomains. As you can see, for Otter, I've got several here that I can choose from when I deploy new funnels. So to add new ones, you just come into add, and then you'll put in the domain or subdomain that you want. So let's say viral.otterpr.com. A couple different options here. You can add the records manually, or you can hit continue. It's going to see where my domain is hosted, and it's going to try and add those DNS records automatically within Cloudflare. Now, it's really important to note that it doesn't always get those right. So you'll actually need to go into Cloudflare and make sure that this record is added inside of Cloudflare. Once that's done, you'll authorize the domain and it will be ready. Once you've got your domain, here in the domains list, you'll be able to come into that domain, hit edit, and then you're going to want to set a default page and an error page for this domain. I like to keep these default pages pretty generic. There's a good chance that somebody is going to visit your root domain and you want it to take them somewhere good. So set a good default page and error page, and then you should be good to go. All right, that is it about domains, funnels, websites, forms, and surveys within GHL. Now, if you want, I do have an offer for you to get a sub account with me for $49 per month that allows you to copy all of my funnels and automations into your CRM for free. You do have to be a member of my Insiders program, and I'll tell you what, if you join the Insiders program in the next 30 days, I'm actually giving you a free GHL account to use, as well as the ability to import my snapshots, funnels, and automations. This will skip you all of the time and thinking about, is this designed correctly? Is this copy good? Do I have everything I need? All of it will be done for you. And if you just want an account with me for $49 per month and you don't want to join the Insiders program, the link to do that is down below as well. But if you want an agency account, meaning the ability to create sub accounts for your clients or for your staff or for yourself, maybe you need a whole bunch of different CRMs like I do, then you will need an agency account. This starts at $300 per month for all of the main cool features that you'll need. And it is really cool to be able to create unlimited sub accounts for lots of your clients. So if you want that, there's a discount code linked for you down below that'll say agency link. Click that and sign up using that link to save a few bucks. And if you thought this was helpful, or maybe you're curious about learning more about GHL, make sure that you're subscribed to this channel and watch the entire GHL masterclass for free on the Lead Gen J YouTube channel. And I will see you soon for more GHL mastery.